Diabetes. It's a word we hear all the time, right? It's this massive global health challenge that affects millions and millions of people. But what if the way we're used to looking at it is only, well, half the story? Today, we're going to explore this condition through two totally different lenses, the high-tech precision of modern medicine and the ancient, holistic wisdom of Ayurveda. Let's see what happens when you bring these two worlds together. First, just to get a sense of the scale here, 438 million. That is the projected number of people who will have diabetes by 2030. And that's not just some abstract statistic, That's hundreds of millions of individual lives impacted by this every single day. A number that big is exactly why it is so important to look at every single angle, every possible tool we have to understand and manage this condition. So when you're facing a problem that huge, where do you even start? What's really fascinating is that even though the physical condition is the same for everyone, the entire philosophy for how you approach it can be worlds apart. So let's break that down, comparing the modern Western view with the ancient perspective of Ayurveda. And this is where you can really see that fundamental difference. On the one hand, you have modern medicine. It zeroes in on the immediate problem, your blood glucose numbers, your insulin. It's all about managing those specific metrics. But then you look at Ayurveda, and it takes a big step back. It's asking a different question. Why is the body's metabolism out of whack in the first place? It doesn't see high blood sugar as the disease itself, but as a symptom of a much deeper imbalance that it calls prameha. Okay, so to really get what Ayurveda is doing here, we kind of have to learn its language first. It's a completely different way of looking at the body, so let's quickly decode a few of its most important ideas. Now, this is just incredible. Ayurvedic doctors figured this out over 3,000 years ago. Think about that. Without any modern labs, they just used careful observation. They noticed that ants were drawn to the urine of certain people, and they correctly figured out that it must contain sugar. That's where the name madhumeha, or honey urine, comes from. It's just a brilliant piece of ancient clinical observation. At the core of Ayurveda, you have the three dashas. You can almost think of them as the body's main operating systems. Now, diabetes is mostly seen as a problem with the kapha dosha. Kapha is all about structure, stability, lubrication. When it's in balance, it's like a nice, steady river. But when you have too much kapha, that river gets slow, thick, and sludgy, which is a perfect metaphor for a sluggish metabolism.
And this is where the approach gets super personalized. An Ayurvedic practitioner looks at your prakriti, that's basically your unique factory-setting constitution that you're born with, and your vikriti, which is your current state of imbalance. This means the goal isn't just to get a blood sugar number down, the goal is to create a totally tailored plan to bring your specific body back to its own natural, healthy state of balance.
All right, so that's all the theory, but what does this actually look like in real life? What does an Ayurvedic approach to managing diabetes mean day to day? Well, it's a whole toolkit that goes way beyond just one thing. We're talking diet, powerful herbs, and even specific therapies. Remember that slow, heavy, sludgy kapha energy we just talked about? Well, the whole diet is designed to counteract that. You'll notice the focus isn't just on foods, but on tastes. Things that are bitter, astringent, and pungent are believed to lighten the body up and get that sluggish metabolism firing again. So the idea isn't just, don't eat sugar. It's about actively using food to bring your whole system back into balance with every single meal. And then you have this incredible herbal pharmacy. Ayurveda has been using these botanicals for centuries. Just look at Gymnoma sylvestre. Its name literally translates to sugar destroyer. How cool is that? And others like Malabar Kino are even being studied today for their potential to help regenerate the actual cells in the pancreas that make insulin. So where does something like yoga fit into all this? Well, in Ayurveda, it's seen as way more than just exercise. I mean, yes, of course, it helps with weight management and circulation, but certain poses are also thought to gently stimulate internal organs, like the pancreas. And maybe most importantly, it helps manage stress, a huge factor that can just wreak havoc on your blood sugar levels. Now, for those really deep-seated chronic imbalances, Ayurveda brings out the big guns. It's a super intensive detoxification process known as panchakarma, and as this quote says, it's really considered a foundational therapy for completely resetting the body's systems. So how does it work? The best way to think about it is like a comprehensive factory reset for your metabolism. The main goal is to remove what Ayurveda calls ama. You can think of it as metabolic gunk or sludge that builds up and clogs the body's channels, interfering with things like how your body uses insulin. The whole process is designed to basically reboot your metabolism from the ground up. So all of this leads to a really big question, doesn't it? Does it have to be an either-or choice, modern medicine or Ayurveda? What happens when you stop seeing them as competitors and start looking at how to combine that ancient wisdom with modern science? To see what that looks like, let me tell you about a guy named Guy Vachon. He was dealing with not just diabetes, but also high cholesterol and high blood pressure, all with conventional medicine. His story is, well, it's a pretty remarkable look at what an integrated approach can do. Okay, so before starting any of this, Guy was taking 110 units of insulin every single day. Just for context, that is a significant amount, a major daily dependency on medication just to keep his blood sugar from getting out of control. That was his starting point. Now get this, within 1 week, just 1 week of starting panchakarma and adopting an Ayurvedic diet, his daily insulin needs plummeted to just 10 to 20 units. I mean, do the math. That is a reduction of nearly 90% in 7 days. It's an absolutely stunning transformation. And it wasn't just the insulin either. He also lost 12 kilograms, that's about 26 pounds, and his blood pressure stabilized. This really drives home that core Ayurvedic idea, right? You don't just treat the blood sugar number, you treat the entire system, and as a result, all these other health markers start to improve too. Look, Guy's story is incredible, but you might be thinking, is that just one lucky guy? Well, modern science is starting to catch up and look into this. A randomized controlled trial from just this year, 2024, found that integrating Ayurveda with standard care led to positive results, both what patients reported and what the lab numbers showed, without any major side effects. So this shows there's really promising research backing these kinds of outcomes. And this isn't just some fringe idea. It's getting official backing. This logo here is for the Indian government's Ministry of AUSH, which oversees traditional medicine in the country. They're now actively publishing official guidelines for doctors on how to integrate these approaches for diabetes care. That's a huge deal. It's moving this from the sidelines right into the framework of national health policy. So, where does that leave us? You've got the incredible diagnostic power and emergency care of modern medicine on one side, and on the other, you have this profound, holistic, and deeply personalized wisdom from an ancient system like Ayurveda. It really makes you wonder, maybe the most powerful path forward isn't about choosing one over the other. Maybe it's about skillfully building a bridge between the two.